I'm looking for. I just came to listen to see what everybody else is doing.
Okay, and just a correction, tutoring is teaching. I know there's a fine line differentiation in there, but for us, tutoring is teaching. So
Okay.
All right. Okay, Chantel, welcome back. What kind of VR educational apps are you looking for? Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I was also just trying to listen in passively as to what everyone else is using, but I joined a bit late. I'm actually presenting on it tomorrow at a teaching conference. So I'm going to just demo human anatomy for VR or institutions, that one. And also for physical education, so like sports, that's going to be like Les Mills. And the other one is Bring Traveler for geography, traveling, and inclusive experiences for those who will never be able to travel. That's more or less the presentation for tomorrow. So I'm keen to hear what everybody else is doing.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, we're getting echoes. So you're going to have to play walkie-talkie. Yeah, you're on a phone, so you have to just release your finger off the button. All the lessons we learn, how to do this. George, anything specific you're interested in or been playing with? Real quick.
Yeah, I've been looking for hopefully what is really cheap or free, because what you consider cheap is expensive for us. So I've been looking at AIs and VR experiences that the students can benefit from, but a lot of it is just out of our price range.
Okay. All right. So we'll mention some prices. Good point. Okay. So let's start with the adventure. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Let's start with our adventure here. So we're talking about educational VR apps, and I wanted to point out it has been 10 years since the first VR apps, specifically outside of a platform. So outside of Second Life and whatnot, independent apps for consumers started being released in 2016. They were actually 2015, close enough. They started being official in 2016. So there's been 10 years, and some of the apps that were released in 2016 continue to exist. Most of them, unfortunately, are shooter games. We're not going to be talking about those. So, the violence seems to win in VR as it does in every gaming thing. But it's been 10 years. I just wanted to pay tribute to that. So here's we're going to go through this really quick at the beginning here because we want to get to the apps. When you're looking to make a decision with educational VR apps, some things to really hone in on is what age are they specific for? Now, there's some things that are fantastic for children and not for adults, others that are fantastic for both children and adults. And, you have to decide how age appropriate and age specific, and keep that in mind. It really makes a huge difference, so that the adults don't feel like they're stupid and the children, you're not going over their heads. So just pay attention to that. Yeah, when you're setting up for a class, you need to identify whether or not you want a single player experience or you want a multiplayer experience. It's really difficult doing multiplayer experiences when you have a classroom of people in headsets because of the echo effect, but you can all mute and talk in the classroom. And that will, as long as everybody stays muted, you don't have an echo and everyone can hear because the public is not involved. And so that usually works the problem. But there are times when the app itself or the learning experience needs to be a solo experience, one not shared. Depends on what it is. A lot of choices here, but you pay attention to those things. Social VR is its own animal. That is a platform like Engage, VR Chat, Frame VR, Spatial. There's many of them. And that is a wonderful place and space to teach. We'll cover that very shortly towards the end of our session because it's a big, complicated topic, so we're just going to cover that lightly. But sometimes that's the answer and not a game app. George asked about costs. Often if you're working with a small group of people, working with Engage XR, with Frame VR or VR Chat, whichever, you can come in at free and there's little or no cost associated with it until you start bringing more people and you need more features and functionality with it. Then there can be cost involved. But right now, all of you are accessing our event right here for free. So that's a possibility, it's just lovely. If you need to evaluate if it's short-term or long-term play. Can they solve the problem, get to the lesson in 3 minutes or less, or is this a 24-hour game? Can they play for a long time? That's, again, dependent on what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, and what the purpose of it is. Something like Gretz mentioned Open Brush, which is the painting art program we'll be talking about. That's something that never has a deadline on it. You can work on it short and long and fast and however you want to do it, any speed for over time. That's great. But there are some that are sequenced with gamification, and you need to pay attention to how long this is. Is it within your time, your classroom time? Is it homework? You have to consider that. I'm not going to talk about specifically SideQuest or Steam Access, but we'll mention what apps are available on those. But do check those out because they're great resources to figure out. Now, behind you here, we'll do questions in a second. I want to talk about homeschooling versus classroom, because this is often a question that we get. Everything revolves around budget. Doesn't matter. It's the same. You're always talking budget, budget, budget. As Elizabeth mentioned, it's about the costs. It's about what you can do the most bang for the buck. And so you have to figure that. But there's ways of doing co-opting, doing group fees and negotiating with prices, all kinds of things. And you can look for homeschooling pods and different co-ops that also will allow you access for paid access for things much cheaper. So keep those in mind. And be aware that there is opportunities to get certifications sorry, let me back up. Some apps have certifications built into them. Not very many, but there are some private ones that are accessible through homeschooling and private education where you either need to be certified or you can get certification with them. Just something to be aware of. But you also have to go through an approval process with whatever educational agency that you're working with, your school or a homeschool or whatnot. Really check to see what those requirements are so that you can quickly slip through any loopholes. And privacy and safety is first. That is so when I'm looking at social VR platforms really quick, because it's a primary example, Engage XR and Frame VR, exceptional when it comes to privacy and security for schools, for businesses, etc. VR chat, not. Spatial, they try, but not. There's some other platforms just don't succeed when it comes to really protecting the privacy and compliance that many countries need with their different schools. So always look into that. All right. Any questions on those parts before we get to this last little one?
Yeah, I can ask one quick question. So we know that VR, especially VR, it's quite, how can I say, like demanding, right? Like it's very intuitive. How do you any technique that we can apply for not getting this fatigue in the people? Like I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. All right. So there is So at first I thought you meant demand on the physical system, because we've had fun with students who have Chromebook computers, and nothing works on Chromebook anymore because it's been pretty much discontinued. So just be aware that whatever computer system, if they're coming in on VR or in VR headsets, they need to make sure that the app matches the capability of the equipment that they're accessing. But when it comes to fatigue, first of all, a lot of that is what we call clickbait. VR is dead. VR motion sickness. VR, will wear you out and tire you out, and it's exhausting, et cetera, and overstimulating. A lot of that is exaggerated. But as with everything new, you start slowly. Most classes run an hour, maybe 90 minutes. Keep it at 20 minutes and then have discussion times and breaks in between when they're new to it. And motion sickness is now almost not a thing, except if you start your session saying, all right, we're going to do VR, and there is a slight possibility that people may become motion sick. Here's what to do. And you know what? About 50% of your students will get motion sick, even ones who've never had motion sickness before, because you just told them to get sick. It's so psychological. It is so weird. So we found that if it's written down in the guidelines but not discussed, Students don't get sick. And with high frame rates and high production value, that is higher resolution of the equipment, the better improved lenses and everything, very few people get sick. Now, if you're in something that's going boom, 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 boom every 2 seconds, well, guess what? You can be on a roller coaster in the real world and still get motion sick. It's the same thing, but just be careful mentioning it because it tends to make people sick when you say it. I don't understand this, but there it goes. But the same thing with the fatigue. If you say, okay, we're only going to do this for about 10 minutes because we know that VR will tire you out, you will be tired in 5 minutes. I know people who are in VR for 24 hours a day sleeping in it, and they don't get tired. They don't get overwhelmed. But it also depends on what they're encountering. What you do not want to do, and this has nothing to do with fatigue, it has to do with overwhelm. You don't want to use everything, to walk into a scene that has 400 objects and 39 signs and 42 images all screaming at you visually, that just will overwhelm anyone. And it's not about tiring. It's just, you could walk into a real world room and go, my eyes. Same thing. Keep things toned down and don't over design and overdo. Make sense? Does that help?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, good. I love it. Okay, anyone else? Any comments about what we've been talking about? Okay, let's talk about the first apps to do. What we hear often from our teachers and new teachers is, I have to dedicate like 20 to 30 minutes teaching students how to use these things. I don't have that time. I say, then don't spend that time. First of all, let them, open up the classroom early, and if you're in a classroom, and let them play around with things for a while. But more importantly, have fun with it. So when we are teaching in social VR, we teach, and some of you, Kaleem, I know, has done it. We teach dance. We teach you how to dance. We teach them how to do the waltz. How do you do the waltz? Da, 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 da. And within seconds, people know how to move and turn. It takes literally like 2 minutes. And we have fun and we laugh, and it's absolutely stupid. And that's with 2 O's. It's the best way, through laughter and learning. But I have found that 2 apps, one is very long, one is not so long, actually teaches more than even our little manual thing. First Steps is great. It's been around for a few years, and it is in the MetaQuest, and it's really fun. And it teaches how to move, how to control your controllers and pick things up, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? But it takes too long to do the job. I love it, but it takes too long, and it's only slightly fun. But First Encounters, how many of you do not know what First Encounters is? Give me some emojis or shake your head or something. No, Elizabeth doesn't know? Okay. First Encounters.
Yes, I do know. I do. I didn't
You
know
do?
whether to
Okay.
shake my head right or left.
Yeah. No, it's up and down or side to side. Yes and no. This is basic things. First Encounters came with the Quest 3. It's not available 2. 2 is dead. So it came with the 3 and the 3S. And what it is it's a mixed reality shooting game. But what you're doing is you are not shooting, you're sucking. So your weapon sucks the aliens into their spaceship. So you're not killing things, you're sucking them. I don't know how else to explain it. It's so funny. It's just wonderful. But what is magical is that it is mixed reality. So it happens in the classroom, in the living room, in the kitchen, the bedroom, wherever you happen to be, scans the environment, and these little bugger aliens will crack. Suddenly your wall will crack open, the ceiling will break open, and these aliens will drop down, and you have to capture them by shooting them. And sucking them into the machine. And the wall will break, a television glass will break, and they'll hide under the couch. Steph, one of the first time she did it, she had to crawl underneath her electric piano and stuff and try to capture one. So it's highly interactive. It involves room scale movement around the things that are in your environment, but they get the triggers, they get the movement, they get everything immediately. with this game, and it is hysterical to watch people doing it. My at the time was 85-year-old mother had way too much fun. She also still holds the highest score for first encounters on my on that particular Quest 3. And while she's standing there sucking up the aliens with her gun, she's OCD. She's just said, great. Who's going to clean up this mess? They're making a mess of everything. Why are they cleaning this up? Who's going to? I'm not going to clean up my house. No, they did this. They're going to have to clean it up. And the whole time she's playing, that's what she's saying. I'm not cleaning up this mess. Somebody else is going to have to clean this mess as she sees her home being destroyed. And it's just hysterical. So when you laugh, you learn very, very fast. So first encounters is wonderful, and it's really, really brilliant. And people learn without knowing they're learning how to move, how to use the controllers, etc. Yeah, Guts, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I really love it. But I had some experiences in a school where I've been teaching. We didn't teach in a classroom like a living room or something like that. We were teaching in a big hall, and it doesn't work like you're used to have it in the living room. So if you have a huge room, it doesn't have the effect like you have in your living room. Because there are no walls. Yeah, there are. Yeah, you have this huge space, and we were very happy to have the space. And I don't use it anymore in huge spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work there.
I agree. Yeah, it doesn't work as well. If you have the cafeteria tables and things, then you have something that the animals can hide under. But in your giant space, it's really hard to scan. So I agree. Yeah, good point.
Right,
good point. But lucky you, not many people get that kind of space. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with the apps. Come on, let's follow. We got a lot to cover in a little bit of time. We're going to do what we can. Bum, 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 bum.
Wow.
So I am not going to cover everything. I'm gonna, because you can take screenshots, you can take pictures. We've updated this with some new and fun apps. So come on and join me over here. I'm shooting up hearts. We're going to start with arts and creativity. And so mentioned Open Brush. Awesome. That's been around for ages. We just love it. But there's also Blender. Blender's being taught in middle school now. Middle school and high school. For 3D modeling, it's still absolutely amazing, and it's free. So George has internet problems. He tuned out for a moment. He'll be back, but it's free. Blender's free. There are some paid add-ons and things, but it's free to use at its core, and it's highly effective, and it's great. Gravity Sketch takes things to the next level. It's more high school and college, university level to really create prototypes and dive in architecture, all kinds of fun things. And we mentioned OpenBrush. A newer one on the market is called Shapes XR, which is like Gravity Sketch, but it takes it up a few levels. So that's more university college level. But if you have a student who's really into design or you're teaching a design class, check that out. Now, like OpenBrush, 3 very fun. We've talked about Blender, George, which is free. OpenBrush wasn't free. Outside the lines is coloring book. Basically, it's a coloring book. You are given a layout, and you get to cover it however you want to. It's really fun. It's great for high school and down, but there's some people actually using it to be meditative. It's meditation for them to color in a coloring book. I love that. King Spray is dedicated to graffiti. You get to paint the walls without getting arrested. And graffiti is its own artwork. It's its own genre and style. And it's really fun when the students are spray painting things, and you never know what will happen. Many of these apps will have group pricing, group licensing. Some don't, some do. So you just have to check and see. Vermilion oil painting is literally oil painting extraordinaire, and really understanding as your brushes emulate oil painting. It's really phenomenal. And then there's the making and there's the visiting. So Art Plunge is still around for older headsets. Google Arts and Culture still has some odds and ends, especially with 2D. It's really accessible on that. But ArtQuest is making a lot of noise. What they've done is they've collected, gotten permission and licensing from museums around the world to use their collections for an online museum. And they're arranged by artists, by different art movement, by preset collections, et cetera, et cetera. You can customize your own art experience. And it has text-to-speech voice option for narrating each of the painting descriptions and finding information with a choice of 5 different voices. You get to choose and control the experience to be in there as long as you want. Really, really awesome. So if you're into that, check out ArtQuest. All right. Now, there are a ton of problem solving and building games, apps, and things that are out there. I'm only going to highlight a few of these because this is overwhelming. Some classic ones like Adam Savage's Tested and Gadgeteer continue to be great fun that allow people to build things and do little, plug things in and just mess around with stuff. Cave Crave is very different. It is photorealistic and photogrammetry scanned caves, reproductions of caves. It is a spelunking simulator. So you are literally crawling through and moving around through famous caves in the world, including in Utah. There's the Nutty Putty Cave that has been closed to the public since 2009. Thailand's Tham Luang Cave, that was famous for the football team that got trapped there, is also there, which is a very unique cave where you have to go underwater at times to move through passages because of the flooding. But this is an amazing way to not only explore geology, but it's also problem solving. You have chalk that you can mark on the wall to trace your path, and you have to find a way out. So it's an escape room in a way, but in a natural space. And it also we're allowed to explore these things that are very vulnerable, national treasures, many that are closed to the public, and we can still enjoy them. So I love that. I'm a major cave freak, so I love that. There's a fairly new app called Sailing. Sailing Club, and it's the Marineverse Sailing Club, and you get to learn how to pilot and race 5 different craft, from dinghies to yachts, in great VR locations all over the world, like in Sydney or Rio, which are fake places. But it is a way to learn the basics of sailing. You can learn the parts of the boat. You can learn tacking and jibbing and right of way, all kinds of things as you sail around these virtual seas. Great adventure, great fun, great learning. It's just wonderful. Prisms is a spatial platform where students learn core math, science, and all kinds of other things. One of the projects they have recently been added is you take your trash from a camping trip and you discover, how do you recycle it? How do you manage, once you just don't remove it, how do you follow through on that trash? And you visit a trash heap, a disposal landfill and whatnot. It's really, really a fun, complicated thing, and it's designed specifically for education. All right, Hotel Infinity is time travel. So and it's escape room, all kinds of craziness. Siberia VR is an adventure game that has you playing a New York lawyer who is thrust into an adventure across Eastern Europe, and it's gotten awards, and it's really great graphics, and again, it's a really fun adventure game. Now, Wrench is really amazing. It is a hyper-realistic race car mechanic and engineering simulator, and it requires the players to maintain, repair, and assemble vehicles with millimeter accuracy, right down to the exact thread pitch and the torque specs for each individual fastener and vehicle and things that are on there. So it's called Wrench. Just amazing. Echoes of Mora. Have anyone played Echoes of Mora yet? It's an underwater adventure game where you have to save the princess kind of thing, but you have to solve all kinds of problems, but it teaches you also about the undersea world. Really fascinating. Okay, last ones, because again I can go through a million of these. Mist and Riven are, I always think of them as the birthplace for VR because they were Mist was one of the most sophisticated video games that was ever first released. Amazing, and they're now available not only in VR, but they just were released for the PlayStation. Coaster Mania. I said I wouldn't go through all these, but these are key points I want to make. Coaster Mania is awesome. You make a roller coaster right in your classroom or your living room, wherever it is. You literally draw the rail places. You get to add environment around it. It's mixed reality, and the roller coaster goes off, and if you haven't completed it, it just the coaster just flies off and smashes into the ground. And so you have to create. You got loops. You've got all kinds of things, but you're building it real time in mixed reality, and it's really, really great fun. And Compass is getting a lot of noise right now because people are learning to fly again in VR. We miss flying. Flight changes. It has been proven now scientifically. When you fly in VR, it actually changes your brain. And many people think that their wings and flight is actually attached to their body. It's just fascinating to see it affects them. The last one I'm talking, there's so many things, chemistry, VR, etc. Math World. Med Micromaps is evolving. It's fantastic. They're working on licensing for schools that they're developing and other things. And that is a microbiology app by Dr. Jean Harrington, where it's mixed reality and you get to pick up microbes and bacteria and examine them and throw them around and play games with them as you learn about it. So it's really, really cool. Anyone have a favorite or something to add? Okay, the fire hose continues. Now, when it comes to fitness and exercise, we have two basic groupings. We have the physical fit, and then we have the mental fit. And so we've divided these into two. Beat Saber continues to beat everyone, literally and figuratively, for fitness and exercise. It also is a great first app because it teaches precision of the controllers, and mentally, after you play a game or two, you forget you have controllers. The controllers become integrated into your body very, very quickly. So that's fabulous. 11, same thing. It feels like you're playing, tabletop tennis. It's wonderful. Fit XR seems to be the winner now that Supernatural is kind of shut down in a lot of ways. Fit XR is $10 a month compared to $20 a month for most of the other apps, and is really succeeding in the XR fitness area. But that is a month subscription. Hitstream, VR Fitness, and X Fitness are pay once, and then you can buy the DLC, whatever, the additional content if you want. So there's no subscriptions involved in either of those for classic fitness things. Bomb the Hill is skateboarding. Trust me. You do this, you'd be drenched in sweat really quickly. Same thing with True Surf is a surfer emulation. You feel wet, literally, when you're playing with those. So those are really fun. And there's a lot of lessons that can be had in physics in both of those things that you can equate to real world learning. I learned so much about basic physics and gravity. I learned a lot about gravity when I learned how to skateboard years ago. So you can apply these to real things. Yeah, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I have a question. So for these fitness and exercise ones, how to keep the headset secure, safety in the room, just those kinds of items.
All right. So we teach this in one of the early things that we teach in our training programs for teachers. If you're doing anything, it doesn't matter what it is that involves swinging arms and a lot of movement areas. It is important to set up a boundary, and so that the other students, if you're doing this in a classroom, other students know. So you can't have a headset on every student. You have students who are watchers and students that are checkers, and then you need to have the actual student who's using it. So if you have a classroom of 20 people, usually having 5 to 8 people playing, and then then the next round plays, and then the next round plays, so you can get through the numbers, usually is more effective, unless you're like Gets and you have a huge space to work in. Then that's different. We've done all the boundaries that's on most headsets are pretty effective now, the newer ones. But what we do is we also suggest, especially if you're doing something that's very movement oriented, is to take pool noodles, those styrofoamy purple and red and hot pink, whatever they are, noodles, and we connect them together with dowels to form a circle on the floor. This is not so much for the player, because the player can see the boundary. It is for the watchers and the assistants, so they know where not to walk. And it's cheap and it's easy. You can also, if you can do chalk on the floor or something like that, you can do whatever it is that you mark it up so people know. And having been smacked by my 85-year-old mother while she was playing Beat Saber, she said, I can't figure out how to do blah, blah. And I stepped forward and she went, oh, and then swung and knocked me on my butt across the room. I've been hit by students, but oh my goodness, she carried a fierce wallop. I know you want to have a protective space because they will lean over and whatnot. So you want to make sure that there's identifiable space so the people not participating know where to go. Does that help?
Yeah, when then the headset itself.
Okay.
I mean,
That's the next one. All right.
Yeah.
The straps that come with the headset suck. I think we all know that, right? They're terrible. And Kalima knows. I've been around where she's battling some of the headset stuff. They fall on the face, the elastic wears out, things like that. So even though it's an added cost, in the long run, it's more effective to get something like a Bobo VR or some form of a replacement strap. Now, what's best with that is to get one that has a battery pack on it. Because when you're playing games and apps that require a lot of power and a lot of visual and a lot of frame rates, etc., you're going to consume what should be 90 minutes of electricity goes away. Battery power goes away really, really fast. So having one that has the battery pack on it is great, especially if it's at the back of the head. It acts as a counterweight. Now, I play Beat Saber at the expert level. I'm wicked. And I have a Bobo VR with a backup battery and stuff. And I will play so that I'm completely, I'm swinging at everything and I'm drenched in sweat. The same thing with other fitness things. And if the headset is fit right, it doesn't move. Now, and I have to have mine set so it doesn't hang onto my face because of some muscle damage I had. Anyway, long story. But so I have it slightly off my face. So the counterbalance is really, really important to me. But I don't have it strapped on tight at all. And it stays. They're designed, if they're balanced right and fit right, they will stay on without any problem. Now, the bigger problem is throwing controllers across the room. I've been hit by controllers. I have watched them fly over my head and smash against mirrors and walls and windows and et cetera, et cetera. I like replacing the strap with something that's a little wider. But make sure you teach the students to put on the strap, use the strap. Don't grab it without putting on the strap. I teach them to lift it up, insert the hand through the strap, then grab. Lift it up with one hand, go through the strap, grab onto the controller. Those straps are really important. Now, what we cannot stop is if they drop it and they're in the middle of a swinging motion, it can hit the student. That's why liability waiver forms are so important. But getting a grip on, putting a grip on the controller can also help. The problem I have with grips is that the batteries in the controllers have to be changed more often than you can imagine. And when you put a cover, make sure that if you do put a grip on, I like grip tape. Just straight grip tape that you can put on stairs and on sports equipment. I just put strips on so that adds a little bit of grip. But if you put an actual dedicated grip on your controller, you have to take it off before you can undo the battery. And that costs time. It eats into time and it's fussy. Does that help? Okay, cool. All right. So fitness stuff is great. Meditation is absolutely amazing. I love that. I haven't tried the Spacious Places, though. I've heard it's absolutely beautiful. Liminal is getting huge reviews, but the Shores of Lokai is one of my favorite puzzling places. They're very meditative, but they're also gaming, and they think problem solving on a 3D level. And I like if I'm going to sit and relax, I want to be educated in the process. I work better when my brain is tested instead of just gliding along. I need gliding a long time, but anyway, Shores of Lokai and Puzzling Places, really wonderful. Okay, history. We have the classics. Anne Frank House is amazing. The new D-Day Museum is highly interactive. Really amazing things that are in that. It's haunting experience, but it is really beautiful. The 1943 Berlin Blitz has been by BBC has been out for a very long time, and Sky Legends is fairly new, and it actually is teaching about the post office flight where people were flying the mail around in the early days. So you play the players. The main player is it's a single user experience. He's a young lawyer in the 1900s and is investigating an air mail transport company. And so it's a detective, but it explores the company's history and really fun. Plus you get to learn how to fly the planes. So very fun. We love aerospace stuff all the time here. These are some classics, absolute classics many are familiar with. Traveling While Black should be back very soon. They lost funding. They're working on funding, but it is award-winning, life-changing, absolutely brilliant. Notes on Blindness, incredible. And also the Hawaiian, that was called On the Morning After some, I can never seem to remember that. Is an amazing experience, a VR experience. In the 45 minutes, when people in the state of Hawaii, an alarm went off saying that Hawaii was under attack with nuclear threat, and in 45 minutes, people thought they were going to die. And it's a beautiful artistic rendering of that. On the Morning When You Wake, I think is what it's called. Horrible title because it doesn't make any sense. That's why I can't remember it. But it's just Hawaii VR alert, alarm, nuclear, whatever. We'll bring that up in searches. Notes on Blindness is about the slow process of actually, it's a simulation of going blind. Absolutely brilliant. Won many awards. Been around for a long time. Lost Recipes, I believe, is still going, which is honoring historical recipes and the history of cooking. So, all right, let's move on. Music. I can talk about the music ones in the next couple batches for ages. What is so exciting about many of these is they're now switching to mixed reality. You can learn piano, you can learn trombone, you can learn all these different music instruments, guitar, etc., by looking at your own piano, your own guitar. And it overlays the notes, it overlays where to pick, where to move, where to press. Really amazing. Mixed reality is game-changing, the whole music stuff. And AI is adding to it. So some of these apps are in the process of adding or already have AI that where you get to pick a tune and it will come up with the lyrics, or it'll come up with lyrics and you have to write a tune, or it will help you add orchestration based on whatever you compose. So all variations thereof. It's really fun to do. Now, science. So before I get into any details, any favorites in the science and nature area? For you, any favorites?
The ISS.
The International Space Station. Yeah, Mission ISS.
The kids here really like Ecosphere because even though there's coral reefs here, it's not really practical to take kids diving at a coral reef. So they get to experience that.
That's wonderful. They get to experience their own backyard in VR. That's cool. Chantel, which are you said you were going to doing some anatomy ones that you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, it was the VR Anatomy for Institutions. So it should be similar to the Organon.
Excellent. That's a great one to do. There are so many choices. That Share Care is wonderful. Nanomi has some amazing things. And so there's apps that are for what she just mentioned that are for enterprise and schools only. So they're not available to direct consumers. These are consumer bases. And sometimes the enterprise ones will do a consumer version. Sometimes they won't. But there's some amazing things. And they're game changers because it's one thing to talk about the heart. It is one thing to look at a video of a heart beating. It is another to walk through a heart while the heart is beating. Game changing, right? For those that are Project Hail Mary fans, there is a new chapter coming out by this fall, exclusively for VR from Project Hail Mary. Andy Ware and his team are putting this together, and some of us who are huge fans of this cannot wait to play with Rocky in VR and with Ryland Grace. We're excited about it. But anything that takes us out into space and doesn't involve shooting, I'm a happy girl.
Laurel, I have to leave. Thank you for setting this up. See you again.
Thank you for being here always. Yes. All right. Languages, nature and languages. Here's languages and travel. I find these really related. Language was one of the first things that was brought into VR. Some of the first apps, the first things in social VR was learning language. And it's so easy to do, but Mondly continues to do absolutely amazing work. Language Lab and Immersed are doing really great stuff with language, but also social VR there's so many worlds with language studies and language lessons in there. But I want to highlight, it's weird, it needs updating, but the American Sign Language finger speller for the Oculus Quest teaches you sign language. Really brilliant, and it's being used in schools, so do check it out. It really needs an update, but it's incredibly valuable. And of course, you cannot do languages without travel. National Geographic is somewhere here, I don't remember. Anyway, Wander is a winner, but it has some competitors. Google Earth is also amazing in VR, but now we have the new World Lens VR, which takes Google images, and they're using some new phenomenal technology that is taking these 2D images from the Street View. It's AI-powered 3D Street View mode, and they are, the developer is just literally somehow through AI is adding a depth layer. So when you move around, it feels like these 2D images are VR. Really amazing. So do check that out. And one of our team members is in Vietnam right now. She's attending a conference and she's living there. And Hoi An Chronicles VR is a first-person immersive experience that was developed by Click Studio at Bien Thanh University. And it involves traveling back in time and returning an ancient relic to its historical time and place. It is designed it's designed for education, happens around 20, 30 minutes, and you get to study and record history through this process. It is really an amazing experience, and I'm hoping that they add more adventures and more things. They're talking about it. They have, I think, two different things set up right, adventures set up right now, but it is so real to life and so wonderful. You feel like you're walking through history. So it's called Chronicles VR, or Hon An Chronicles VR. Check it out. All right, I think we're going to make it through here. Jobs and careers and productivity go hand in hand. First of all, for this is probably, the jobs and careers apps are probably the most popular for schools. Convia is designed specific. It's more enterprise level for educational institutions, as is Transfer Trek, and Forge Forge FX, and what they do is you get the academic version, and the students get to explore careers in VR. What is it like to, be an electrician? What is it like to be a nurse or a physician's assistant or whatever it happens to be, or a flight attendant? You get to go through these different career choices, and it's very, very popular. Sometimes this will come into a school first before anything else. Nowadays, it's really amazing. And virtual speech is learning about communication, learning about how to be interviewed. There's all kinds of things that can happen with a virtual speech app. Is anyone using any of these?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Planning to.
They're not. Yeah. Okay. Good. They're really amazing, and some of them like Conva and Transfer Tech will work with schools to come up with custom programs and things, again, at a cost, but they really can provide personalized experience to give you what it is that you need. And that's the key ability of VR, is to walk in someone else's shoes. And when it comes to career decisions today, I don't know, the last 20, 30 years, I'm hearing from so many of our students that it's getting harder and harder for them to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. This is a great opportunity to do a body swap kind of experience. Now, I'm sure you all have heard all of the talk, all of the clickbait things that somebody says they spent a month in VR, 24 hours of VR, working in VR. They want to do nothing but work in VR. I say, seriously, right tool for the right job? I just don't think working 10 hours a day in VR is a good idea in general. But there are many people who do. But here's some tools that support improved productivity as well as feature functionality if you're going to be in VR a lot. LibreOffice has just released their whole package that allows you to view, open and view. It's just a viewer, doesn't allow you to edit. You can bring up through a browser, you can bring up Google Docs and LibreOffice and all these other things online, but you have a viewer for Quest was just released, and it will open up and allow reading of all open document formats, all the Microsoft Office, Excel, PowerPoint, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's LibreOffice Office Viewer will connect with those. Is anyone using virtual desktop? Nope. Okay, so it used to be, hey, Vanya, it used to be the default. If you were serious about VR, you got virtual desktop. It allows you to use up to 5 monitor screens within your headset. It has all kinds of other performance things that allow you to incorporate virtual monitors into a regular desktop computer, and it works with web browsing and media and gaming, and you can fill up your whole headset with 5 monitors worth of stuff. But now Quest has multiple viewers, multiple windows that is allowed. So this is kind of fallen off, but it still has some really powerful features, and it has almost 200,000 users. Really, really effective to do. But one of the and that's also there is the Quest Game Optimizer. So you see it down below with a multiple monitor view here right in your headset, but the Quest Game Optimizer does even more. And I think it should be a requirement for every teacher's headset, maybe students, but definitely for teacher headsets. It boosts the resolution, the performance, the frame rate of your MetaQuest apps. It extends your battery life a smidge, not a whole bit, it depends on what you're doing, but it also will allow you to capture videos of 3D videos up to 4K at 60 frames per second and 100 millibytes per second. And it also helps you to organize your apps, and it has a great customizable launcher so you can find what you need it to do, free up RAM, lock apps, set alarms, install APKs, track your playtime, and really customize your experience. So most serious Quest users have this add-on. So something to keep a look. Oh, the bottom one's immersed. That's right, I forgot. So immersed in virtual desktop both set up multiple monitors. And so for many people, they'll get both or one or the other, virtual desktop or immersed, and to have those different virtual displays in there. Any questions about this or anything else that's come forward, or anything that you can't live without?
Oh, so many I can't live without. It's too much.
I agree. I hope y'all are, if you haven't gotten a screenshot or a picture of any of the, hold this one for a little while so you know. So come on over here so you can do this before we close everything out. All right, so 2 more quick things. We talked about platforms and packages in the beginning. So we have Engage XR, highly recommend. Frame VR would be our second choice, most because I haven't checked in the last few months, but they're still struggling with AI. AI is now, as Engage was the first to have AI in VR, and its capabilities are amazing, and they've just are in the process of releasing a new AI-driven experiences that have triggers and all kinds of different incredible things, and they've changed their what's called their now their experience editor. That used to be the content editor that allows you to set up a sequence of events and activities and add a game and whatnot, is changed from time-based to chronological time-based to now scene-based, which is a huge game changer to allow you to customize things with different scenes, and optimize the experience. So they are the first up when innovation happens. Frame VR is probably second up with innovation. So mess around with their AI, doing really cool things. I really love it. Frame VR Chat would be third on the list of educational independent platforms. I just know that it's not safe and secure in many ways, but be careful. All right, so, but what you want is, for a school, is an MDM, and I'm sorry, we're going to run over just a couple minutes, a mobile device management software. So it comes with apps, it comes with curriculum, depending on what you're using, and you can custom choose these things. These are not consumer. This is for an educational institution. So Manage XR, Grove XR, Arbor XR are all absolutely amazing, and they will work with you to customize the experience and help manage licensing. Facebook Meta changed their MDM licensing policies last year, earlier this year, and now it is cheaper than ever to use these things because the prices have dropped because they don't have to pay Facebook tons and tons of money. They're really amazing to help you manage the inventory of the headsets. We do a whole session just on the MDMs, on managing all the apps and keeping them updated and everything that's going on, and being able to have a teacher view so you can see what the students, right on your computer, you can see what are the students seeing, what are they playing, what are they doing, whether they're remote or they're in class. These are really powerful, and they're well worth the cost. They're absolutely amazing. Now, Pico VR, Pico XR has this built into their advanced headsets, so you don't need a third party. Engage XR also has this in their teacher portal that comes with it if you choose to do their enterprise and academic level packages for Engage XR. It also has these, and it makes such a difference, because otherwise you have to update every single headset that's in your class. You have to yourself, or get your IT people to do it. You have to maintain them. You don't know where they are. You don't know what app is on this headset, that headset, and so managing them is really critical. So we highly recommend those. Any questions about those? Again, I only have a minute to go into detail because they're invaluable. But we do a whole session just on the MDMs because they're that critical. Chantel, are you going to be mentioning those? I don't know who your audience is, but you've worked with these?
No, it's very introductory level tomorrow.
Okay, all right. This is like the second thing that I want people to know is these things are available. They just change a teacher's experience completely. All right. The last thing I cannot ignore is mixed reality and augmented reality. There are now books all over, textbooks that have the QR codes and whatnot, or they'll just jump out. You have glasses or headset and images will jump out. There's a library in, I think it's in Singapore, somewhere in Asia, which is so ahead of much of the United States and even Europe with this technology, where you can be reading a book and with these special AI-driven glasses. And wherever you are in the book, especially for classic novels and things, not every book, but just specific ones, they're slowly developing this. If you're reading like a scene about Frankenstein, and you will look up, and the scene that you're reading will appear in some way, or an image from it, AI generated in your glasses, that helps to enhance the visual aspect of the story. There's so many things that's happening. It's just crazy. The Merge Cube, the AR Merge Cube is still going. It's working with CoSpaces and whatnot. It is still going. I have 2 or 3 of them that are sitting right over on my shelf here, where they use your phone or tablet to learn math and science and turn that cube into an entire world. It's really amazing. But my favorite, as many heard, that actually is the underlying engine for Pokemon and for Wizards Unite and for Catalan and for all kinds of different games that are out there, and monsters. Oh, Lance, I forgot the name of the monster game.
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter. God, I can never remember that. They're all built on top of a Niantic's Lightship framework, which is the first game they did was called Ingress, and then became Ingress Prime. And this, I have done this with my students over the years. It's going on 14, 15 years that it's been around. It is free. I told George about it, and he went, "Oh, in Fiji there wouldn't have anything like this." And I said, "Get the app on your phone," and he did, and he found all kinds of portals and things all around him. And what this does, it just amazed him. I have played this all over the world. My husband's played it in China, Japan. I've been in Norway and France and Spain and Israel and other places, and I have played this game all over. And what it is there are 2 factions globally. And I'm going to just give you the simple version. There is energy leaking out of the planet that we must capture and do something with, that is leaking out of landmarks. So churches, post offices, museums, murals, statues, artwork. It is a way to learn about, they're all community submitted things, crowdsourced things. So you can turn it on and walk around a neighborhood and learn about the history. You can find artwork and murals that you never knew existed and learn a little bit about it. They have an area where people have submitted information on the history of this church or this temple or this mural, how it came to be made to honor, Black Lives Matter or whatever it happens to be. And it is a chance to get to know your neighborhood. Yes, there's a game involved, and it teaches you geometry. Everything's in triangles. It also teaches math and history, anthropology. It's been used by the BBC and the British Museum, and I believe it was Trinity College. I can't remember who in Ireland. Anyway, for those that live in the UK, or the Unbox Festival. The Niantic Lightship was used based on Ingress for people to tour for the 3 weeks or so of the festival. People could travel around the area with their phone or their tablet and find landmarks and see video and overlays about the history of that place. This is where a riot happened and 49 people were killed over, the coal rights, coal miners or whatever it happened to be. A strike happened here, or somebody gave a speech here. And, and you're standing in a parking lot with a bunch of cars, and you get to learn about what was here 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Really, really fascinating. Niantic Lightship, its core is free. You can, if you have tech savvy older students can actually create your own AR apps that are location-based with anchoring technology through Niantic Lightship. It's really amazing, and many schools have done this, even around their campus. Really fascinating. So that's my hubby and I. My hubby is at one of the portals in there. I really recommend it. It is great fun, and it is the best way to travel. When I was in Bergen in Norway, I was tagging some of the portals and things there, and there's a way to communicate with people, and I had several people reached out to me and said thank you for helping them with, defend the planet. And then I chatted with them, and they invited my mother and I and my niece to lunch, and then they gave us a private tour of Bergen, and we had so much fun. It's a great way to meet people too, and it is designed to be multiplayer. Only certain things happen when you collaborate with others. All right, you now have been fire hosed with more information about XR technology. Anyone who tells you XR is dead, you can now say that Laurel from Educators in VR told me it's not. It is alive. It is vital. There's so much diversity. There's so much going on. It's pretty incredible, and it's most exciting. While there are studios that are closing down and Meta's doing whatever it's doing to disrupt the industry, just ignore it. Because what it's doing, there are studios that are popping up everywhere. There are virtual social VR platforms, apps, gaming, all kinds of things that are happening. This is still alive. Mixed reality is the future. AI involvement in it is absolutely groundbreaking work that is happening with AI that is so exciting, really exciting, that's incorporated into many of those. I didn't have time to identify all of them, but there's really exciting things. So this is a time to be very excited about what's happening. Any comments or questions? Did this help? Chantel, did this help?
Yes, a ton. Thank you. Just a quick comment. On the fitness and exercise apps, my main use of VR is for well-being. So then we use also synth riders and Les Mills. Those are quite good options. Both for the question, I can't recall the name, but for safety and cyber sickness, mixed reality, using that version of the game is a good way to stop what do you call this, injuries from happening.
Yes, yeah, it can. Doesn't stop them, but it can help prevent them. Because I have seen I had one student who literally got so excited they overreached, lost their balance, and then did a somersault.
Valid point.
So we do our best. Yeah, we do our best. Enthusiasm only goes so far. We do our best to protect the students. Yeah, they're really great. And also there's a new exercise one out that is getting a lot of attention called Reflexion with XR in the middle of reflection, something that is really getting some strong. It's new. I haven't tried it yet, so it didn't include it because I don't know a lot about it. But it's making a lot of noise in the exercise thing. And don't forget things like med micromaps is highly physical. You're throwing bacteria at each other and viruses. There's some great game things that are in there. So don't forget that learning things can be also quite physical. And it's very exciting to see more and more apps using room scale movement where there's a name for it that went blank on my head, where they're able to move around within a 2x2 foot area that makes people feel like they're moving through an entire room. It's really, really amazing. Siberia VR uses it. I think Moss uses it, and a few other ones that allow that feeling of room scale, but you're just moving in a little tiny bit of safe space. It's really amazing to have that happen, but still feel physical. So, you have to come back and tell me about how your presentation went, Chantel. I want to hear.
I will definitely do that.
I love that. Anyone else?
Do you know when Engage is going to come out with that new editor?
I heard sometime it was supposed to be in June. We're going to see what happens. So I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. It already is exciting to have the AI triggers where if you answer like a quiz question right, or you say a right trigger word, or you move through a specific area, you can make things doors open. We've done fireworks shoot off saying, "Oh, you got it right," and all kinds of fun things that are triggered by interaction with the AI. So many fun things. Elizabeth, you feeling a little better about some of your decisions, or still?
Oh, it's just so much to choose from. Our group's going to be reconvening in the fall, so we'll be matching up our use cases to potential apps. Oh, when you went through music, I was curious if you've experienced Patchworld.
Steph, she's our music expert.
I have, and it's. I haven't been in a while, so I don't know the what might be newest on its list of accomplishments, but what you can do with it in terms of creating sound and creating instruments to make those sounds is what if you're into teaching sound synthesis, that would be excellent.
Yeah, I attended a demonstration. It was pretty exciting in terms of understanding how to blend sounds. But I'm not a musician, so but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, Steph is an amazing composer. Her understanding, I still want that little thing in the back of your neck so I can download people's knowledge. I want to download her music expertise, and along with some other things. It's wonderful.
Some things should stay private,
Oh, sorry. Is that TMI that I want to download your brain? No,